transfer movements, I can tell you that I have spoken to the agent of Fawaz Basadin. The much-wanted left-back out at Stellies has been in demand from a Kaizer Chiefs point of view. Even murmurs of the other Soweto giant, Orlando Pirates, as well as Mamelodi Sundowns. But I can tell you, the agent confirming to me that there has been two bids from North Africa, and they are monitoring closely. Stellies still want to keep the player as he's contracted on a long-term deal. But if a great offer that makes financial sense comes their way, they will not hesitate. But it will also depend on whether Fawaz Basadin is keen to move to North Africa, according to the agent, because he wants to play in the AFCON. Does not want to affect his chances of missing out on Coach Hugo Bruce's team. I just want the guys in studio to just dissect this a little bit. Fawaz Basadin, should he stay at Stellies or should he be considering an offer up north?
Well, thank you very much, Mazola. I'm going to give that one to the coach. He mentions three teams locally that would have wanted him, the big three, so to speak. Sundowns, Pirates, Chiefs. They inquired, but there's North African interest as well in Fawaz Basadin.
I think you will look at the past history of the other players that have gone to the North, what challenges they've had, having to be there and get affected to getting into Bafana, because that's where he wants to be. Because you look at him, he's played 46 games, all competitions for Stellies. He scored 7. He's assisted 8, so it means he's a good acquisition as a defender, left fullback. We saw him from Swallows, Stellies, and he even played for Bafana in the 2 friendly matches. So I think it's going to be important for him to make a sane decision, make sure that he gets game time. It's a critical year for him to stay there because in a team where he's going to get game time. Bafana is around the corner for the qualifiers, for the AFCON, and for the future is only 28.
Well, another player that's hoping to still impress Coach Hugo Bruce leading up to the AFCON is striker Cassius Mailula. He's moved to Toronto in the MLS. Did not impress Coach Hugo Bruce all that much, hence he was actually left out of Bafana over the last couple of months and not making that AFCON squad where Bafana won the bronze medal. But he's impressed since he's come back to the African continent, playing for Wydad Athletic Club, impressing also here at the Club World Cup in the USA, scoring a goal that by all accounts didn't matter that much, given that Wydad Athletic Club had already been knocked out. But Cassius Mailula, we should expect an update regarding his future, because his loan spell does end from the 1st of July. It's whether Wydad Athletic Club will trigger the option to buy him outright, or whether he will head back to Canada to play for Toronto FC. That's a story we are keeping a close tab on. I will have an update on sabcsport.com in the next couple of days, given that we've gone into the July period and his future is being discussed by the two parties. Let's move on now to another story that's been reverberating across the Premier Soccer League even before the season ended. It's the sale or potential thereof of Super Sport United. I have it on good authority that the club has been sold. The information I can give you is that at the moment, it's pending the executive committee's ratification. As we know, with club sales, they have to go to the Exco first to decide the financial viability of the new potential owner that's taking over. And in this instance, it's regarding whether the club will move immediately, effective from the 2025-26 season. But I'm told SuperSport, in an agreement with the new suitor, the new buyer, to keep it up in Tshwane for at least one more year while they sort out some of the finer details of this contract. But I can tell you that SuperSport United, from what my sources have told me, have been sold. I'd love to hear what the guys think about another institution potentially disappearing into thin air and relocating and no longer being in existence.
Oh, the bearer of not so good news there, Mazola Molefe. Example, what like Super Sport United, right? It's about Super Sport United for more to million on, or it yearly, more industry up, or let's on.
Yeah, if the story get true, that will be set for South African football, because we're talking about the history for 30 years. And that tells you in the 30 years, these people have won 3 league titles. 5 Nedbanks and 1 Telkom. That's a huge history. And if we, in our PSL offices, we don't tighten those rules to say, if you buy, you can change the ownership, but don't change the names, because these names, we relate to them, and they are close to our hearts. And when you see these teams get bored and change names, you will remember Wits University. You'll remember Bloemfontein Celtics. Those are the teams that has got huge history in South African football. But to see them just disappearing like this, that would be sad to see another big institution like SuperSport. Players that have been produced. Myself, I play for that team. Ronza, the #1 goalkeeper in the world now, has played there. Talent Mbata. So all players, there's so many players that are in this league that are coming from SuperSport. That will be said.
Now, speaking of SuperSport United, let's look at a story that involves their former coach, Gavin Hunt. Gavin Hunt is the leading candidate, I'm told, of Durban City. We know that as of last week, officially, Durban City parting ways with coach Simo Tlala, who helped them get promoted to the Betway Premiership. Even though it was this long, drawn-out saga, but they did do it by the book. They got the points, and coach Simo Tlala and his technical team got the team promoted. But Farouk Kadodia feeling as though he needs a change. Simo Tlala out the door, and I'm told Durban City are in talks now with Gavin Hunt to potentially take over this team leading up into the new season. That's all I have for now. Let me finish packing my bags, and at this time next week when we broadcast Soccer Zone, I'll be back home right with you guys in studio. Having not seen you for a long time, I'll leave it right there and head back home, Andile.
Mazola, it's been 2 weeks, boy.